Hey, my name is Jacob, and my CEO analysis and report is over Jamie Dimon, who's the CEO and president of JP Morgan Chase. For starters, JP Morgan Chase is a bank, and it's actually one of the five largest banks in America. They do a ton of financial services for individual people and for corporations as well. What got me into them? I uh, I was looking into popular companies and popular CEOs, and Jamie Dimon popped up, and then I was reading more into J.P. Morgan Chase and came across some big scandals that happened over the course of 6 years, and I'll get into more of that. But that was a big reason why I chose this specific CEO and this specific company. Jamie Dimon, he has been in the financial services for since 1997, and he still is currently actually with JP Morgan. Beforehand, he was with a company that consolidated with another and they created Citigroup, and then he had some disagreements with one of the co-owners or co-founders of that company and was asked to resign. So he did that, and then he came across J.P. Morgan, and J.P. Morgan wanted him to become their CEO. So that was back in 2005, I believe, and he's been CEO since. But what the crazy stuff that they went through are in 6 years, they admitted to five different felonies. They had to pay a crazy amount of lump sum of money, a crazy amount. It was over $37 billion, just because of those five felonies and those penalties that they had to pay for that. Um, in my paper, I talked a lot about how, in a company like that, being one of the largest uh, banks in America, a CEO, when you're manipulating money, a CEO is going to know about it. And especially if it's going on for 6 years and there's been five different felonies over the course of those 6 years, a CEO knows about it. So initially, my thought process about him was he's not a very strong leader. He came in and did not set standards for morals and ethics and integrity. But as it kept going, I did some further research into his leadership style and his leadership ability, and they talked a lot about how he implements discipline and humility and adversity and the truth, which are traits that I strongly agree with and align with and I have them myself. Um, he implements discipline and he helps with keeping people on the right track. He implements adversity and truth. The truth hurts. Nobody likes to hear the truth, but even as a leader, truth can help you grow. He implements humility. He has a strong trait of humility to understand he doesn't know everything. You're not always right. And people were in that same position before he ever was. JP Morgan has been around, it's not the specific name, but they have predecessors that have been around for hundreds of years. He's not the first CEO to be in charge. So he has to realize he has to accept humility and embrace humility and realize he doesn't know everything. And a lot of what he may know has come from people before him. The article that I read about those traits with discipline, humility, and adversity through truth is a more recent article, and the felonies that they went through are not so recent. I mean, it is within the last decade, but and then some, but it's not it's not as recent as 2020 or 2021. Um, so what I gathered from that research is that he's done a lot of growth. The company has seen the benefit and the value of having him as CEO because he has increased their stock price substantially. Uh, I do see myself in the way that he leads that organization now. Focusing on discipline, focusing on adversity and truth, focusing on humility. I see those traits in myself, and I could see myself lead the organization that same way. And to be honest, those are the traits that I would admire from someone. I admire leaders who have the humility to accept that they're not better than everybody. Leaders aren't meant to be here and everybody else here. Leaders lead, but at the same time, they need to understand that they're not just above everybody else. They're not a power-hungry individual doesn't mean you're a good leader. Just because you have power, just because you're called a leader, but you want it for power, doesn't make you a good leader. So humility is one of my favorite traits for a leader to have. And if Jamie Dimon has that type of humility to accept that he may be the CEO, but he doesn't know everything, that's amazing. I respect that, and I admire that a lot. The way he leads the company now is exactly how I would lead it. It's the same way I would implement a ton of training and a ton of lessons over integrity, because integrity is the #1 trait that I believe keeps people from making unethical choices. I would implement humility and show people that adversity through truth is very important, and open communication is very important for a successful company. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you learned something, and thank you for this class.